In this video, we'll go through regulatory signs in the UK, essential signs that tell you what you must or must not do on the road. We'll break down each sign with clear explanations so you know exactly what it means. Let's get started. Regulatory signs other than those for low bridges, railway and tramway level crossings, bus and pedal cycle facilities, and roadworks. Most regulatory signs are circular. A red ring or red circle indicates a prohibition. A blue circle generally gives a positive, mandatory instruction or indicates a route for use only by particular classes of vehicle. See sections on tram signs and bus and cycle signs. Alright, take a look at this sign. It's the stop sign. But there's more to it than just the red octagon. Notice the thick white line on the road? That's the transverse line. When you see this sign, you must stop before crossing this line. No rolling stops. Why? Because this is placed where you must give way to traffic on a major road. Stopping here lets you check for vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians before moving forward. So next time you see this sign and line together, stop fully, look both ways, and only go when it's safe. Here's another key sign you'll see on the roads, the give way sign. This upside-down triangle with a red border means you must give way to traffic on the major road. But look closely, you might also see a large white triangle painted on the road. Now here's something important. Sometimes you might not see both the sign and the road marking together, especially at quieter junctions. But the rule remains the same, you must slow down, check for oncoming traffic, and be ready to stop if necessary before joining the main road. So whenever you see this sign or just the road marking, remember to give way and proceed only when it's safe. Alright, take a look at this sign. It's a solid red circle with a white horizontal bar. Do you know what it means? This is the no entry sign. If you see this at a road entrance, it means no vehicles are allowed to enter from this direction. Turning in is not an option. But here's something to watch for. Sometimes you might see a smaller sign below it, allowing exceptions for buses or cyclists. If that's the case, other vehicles must still obey the no entry rule. So when you spot this sign, stop and find another route. Ignoring it could put you in a dangerous situation or even lead to a fine. Look at this sign, it's a red circle with nothing inside. What does it mean? This is the no vehicle sign. That means no cars, motorbikes, or any other vehicles are allowed beyond this point. But here's something important. If you're pushing a bicycle by hand, that's okay. This restriction only applies to vehicles being ridden or driven. So if you see this sign while driving, do not enter. Find another route to avoid breaking the rules. Here's another version of the no vehicle sign, but look closely. This one has a time restriction. It says no vehicles from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., except for access. That means during these hours you cannot drive through unless you have a valid reason, like reaching a property inside the restricted area. Outside of these times, vehicles are allowed. So always check the sign carefully to avoid entering at the wrong time. This sign means no motor vehicles. That includes both cars and motorcycles. They're not allowed beyond this point. So if you're driving, you must not enter this area. It's often used in places meant for pedestrians, cyclists, or restricted zones where motor traffic is not permitted. Always watch out for this sign to avoid breaking the rules. This sign means no motor vehicles except solo motorcycles. That means cars, vans, and other motor vehicles are not allowed beyond this point, but single-rider motorcycles are permitted. It's important to check for any additional signs that may provide further restrictions or exceptions. Stay aware and follow the road rules. This sign means no solo motorcycles. If you're riding a single-rider motorcycle, you cannot continue past this point. However, this restriction does not apply to other vehicles unless stated otherwise. Always check for additional signs that might provide more details on restrictions. This sign means no towed caravans. If you're pulling a caravan or trailer, you cannot enter this area. This restriction helps control traffic in areas where larger vehicles might cause congestion or hazards. Always check for additional signs that may indicate specific exceptions. This sign means no pedestrians. Pedestrians must not enter this area, as it is meant for vehicles only. You'll often find this sign near motorways, tunnels, or construction zones where walking could be dangerous. If you're on foot, look for alternative routes, such as designated pedestrian paths or crossings. This sign means no ridden or accompanied horses. Horse riders and handlers must not enter this area, as it is restricted for safety or traffic reasons. You'll often see this sign near motorways, city roads, or restricted zones where horses could be at risk. Riders should look for designated bridleways or horse-friendly paths to ensure safe travel. This sign means no horse-drawn vehicles. Horse-drawn carts, wagons, and carriages are not allowed in this area. You'll often see this sign in busy city roads, highways, or areas where slow-moving vehicles could cause congestion or safety concerns. If you're using a horse-drawn vehicle, look for alternative routes or designated paths. This sign means no articulated vehicles. It prohibits long vehicles with a pivot joint, such as lorries with trailers or articulated trucks, from entering this area. You'll commonly find this sign in narrow roads, weight-restricted areas, or zones where large vehicles may pose safety risks. Drivers of articulated vehicles should seek alternative routes or follow traffic regulations. This sign means no goods vehicles over the maximum gross weight shown. It restricts heavy goods vehicles exceeding the weight limit, in this case 7.5 tons, from entering this area. You'll commonly see this sign in residential zones, weak bridges, or roads where heavy vehicles may cause damage. Drivers of heavy goods vehicles should check their vehicle weight and use an alternative route. This sign indicates the end of goods vehicle restriction. It means that any previous restriction on goods vehicles, such as weight limits or access bans, no longer applies beyond this point. Drivers of heavy goods vehicles can now proceed if their route allows it. Always check for further signs indicating new restrictions ahead. This sign means no vehicles carrying explosives. It prohibits vehicles transporting explosive materials from entering this area due to safety regulations. Drivers must ensure their cargo complies with restrictions and take alternative routes where allowed. Always follow hazardous material transport laws to prevent risks and ensure road safety. This sign prohibits vehicles carrying dangerous goods from entering tunnels where the restriction code applies. In this case, the restriction code means vehicles with certain hazardous materials cannot enter due to safety risks. Drivers must check the tunnel classification table and follow alternative routes where necessary. You can find tunnel classification table in the next slide. Failure to comply with these rules can result in serious penalties and safety hazards. This sign indicates a maximum vehicle width restriction of 2.0 meters or 6 feet 6 inches. Vehicles wider than this limit are not allowed beyond this point. Drivers must ensure their vehicle width, including mirrors and attachments, complies with the restriction before proceeding. Ignoring this sign could result in fines or damage to your vehicle. This sign indicates a maximum vehicle length restriction of 9.9 meters or 32 feet 6 inches. Vehicles or vehicle combinations exceeding this length are not allowed beyond this point. Drivers must check their vehicle's total length, including trailers, to ensure compliance. Ignoring this restriction could result in fines, road blockages, or accidents. This sign indicates a maximum gross weight restriction of 18 tons. It is used on weak bridges or roads where heavy vehicles may cause damage. The additional plate states that empty vehicles are exempt, meaning only loaded vehicles must comply with the restriction. Drivers must check their vehicle's total weight, including cargo, before proceeding. Ignoring this restriction could result in bridge damage, fines, or safety risks. This sign indicates that entry is restricted, except for vehicles requiring access to premises or land adjacent to the road. Drivers must not use this route as a shortcut unless they have legitimate access. Additional plates may specify further exemptions, such as permit holders or delivery vehicles. Ignoring this restriction could lead to fines or enforcement action. This sign indicates that access is restricted except for goods vehicles engaged in loading or unloading. Other vehicles must not enter unless specifically permitted by additional signage or local regulations. This restriction helps to ensure efficient deliveries while keeping the area free from unnecessary traffic congestion. Drivers should check for time limits or additional conditions that may apply. This sign indicates a no overtaking zone. Drivers must not overtake vehicles ahead, as doing so could be dangerous. The red car symbolizes a restricted vehicle, while the black car represents a vehicle that must not be overtaken. This restriction is usually placed on roads with limited visibility, narrow lanes, or high-risk areas such as sharp bends and junctions. Drivers should remain patient, follow speed limits, and wait until an overtaking zone is indicated. This sign indicates that you must give way to oncoming traffic. It is typically found at narrow roads or bridges where two vehicles cannot pass safely at the same time. The black arrow represents the priority direction, meaning vehicles coming toward you have the right of way. The red arrow indicates your direction, requiring you to stop and wait if necessary. Look for a give-way line on the road, showing where you should stop. Proceed only when it is safe and the oncoming lane is clear. Always drive cautiously and be prepared to yield when approaching this sign. Where changes of direction are prohibited, a red bar across the sign is used in addition to the red circle. This sign indicates that making a U-turn is prohibited. It is typically found at intersections or areas where turning around could create hazards or traffic disruptions. The red circle with a diagonal line signifies that U-turns are not allowed in this area. This is to ensure the safety and smooth flow of traffic. Drivers should look for alternative routes to turn around safely, as attempting a U-turn could lead to accidents or traffic violations. Always obey this sign to maintain road safety and avoid fines. Plan your route accordingly and proceed with caution when navigating intersections. This sign indicates that making a right turn is not permitted at this intersection. It is commonly placed where turning right could pose safety risks or disrupt the flow of traffic. The red circle with a diagonal line clearly signifies the prohibition of right turns, ensuring that drivers remain aware of the restrictions in place for their safety and the safety of others. Drivers should look for alternative routes to navigate safely without turning right. Ignoring this sign can lead to accidents or traffic violations. Always adhere to this sign to promote road safety and avoid potential fines. Stay alert and plan your route ahead to ensure a smooth driving experience. This sign indicates that making a left turn is prohibited at this intersection. It is often placed in areas where a left turn could create dangerous situations or impede traffic flow. The red circular sign with a diagonal line serves as a clear warning that left turns are not allowed. This helps to maintain safe and efficient traffic movement. Drivers should seek alternative routes to navigate without turning left. Ignoring this sign could lead to accidents, congestion, or legal penalties. Always respect this sign to enhance road safety and avoid unnecessary complications. Stay vigilant and plan your route in advance to ensure a hassle-free journey. This important sign indicates that vehicles must stop and must not proceed beyond this point when displayed by a school crossing patrol. It is typically found near schools where children are crossing the road. The bright yellow background and clear stop message ensure visibility and emphasize the need for caution. The silhouettes of children remind drivers that young pedestrians are present and need safe passage. Always be prepared to stop when approaching this sign, especially during school hours. Keep an eye out for the crossing patrol, who is there to guide children safely across the street. By obeying this sign, you play a crucial role in protecting our children and ensuring their safety. Let's work together to create a safe environment for everyone. Remember, when you see this sign, stop and wait until the crossing patrol signals it's safe to proceed. This sign signals that vehicles must stop and must not go beyond this point when indicated by a police officer or traffic warden. You'll often see this sign in areas where traffic control is necessary for safety, such as during incidents or events. The bold stop message paired with the police label commands attention and reminds drivers of the authority present to ensure everyone's safety. This sign is a critical reminder to respect law enforcement and traffic regulations. As you approach this sign, be ready to halt your vehicle and follow the instructions given by the officer or warden. They are there to manage traffic and keep the road safe for all users, including pedestrians. By obeying this sign, you not only comply with the law but also contribute to a safer community. Let's all do our part. When you see this sign and a police officer or traffic warden directing traffic, stop and wait for their guidance. Your cooperation makes a difference. This sign indicates that specified traffic is prohibited from using the verge that is maintained in a mown or ornamental condition. It aims to protect these areas from damage. The red circles with icons clearly show that motor vehicles, bicycles, animals, and pedestrians are not allowed on the mown verge. This helps preserve the aesthetics and integrity of the landscape. Always respect this sign to ensure the area remains tidy and safe. Stick to designated paths and roadways to avoid potential fines and maintain the beauty of our surroundings. This sign instructs you to proceed in the direction indicated by the arrow. It is essential for maintaining proper traffic flow. The blue circular sign with a white arrow clearly directs drivers to follow the specified path. Always adhere to this sign to ensure safe navigation and a smooth driving experience. This sign indicates that you must turn left ahead. If the symbol is reversed, you will need to turn right instead. The blue circular sign with a white left arrow clearly directs drivers to make the upcoming turn. Always be prepared to follow this sign to navigate safely and efficiently. This sign indicates that vehicles may pass on either side to reach the same destination. The blue circular sign with arrows pointing in opposite directions clarifies that both lanes are available for passing. Follow this sign to ensure smooth traffic flow and safe navigation. This sign instructs you to keep left. If the symbol is reversed, keep right instead. The blue circular sign with a white arrow indicates the required lane position. Follow this sign to ensure safe and proper navigation. These plates supplement turn signs to provide additional information. The one-way plate indicates that traffic is restricted to a single direction, while the dual carriageway plate signifies that the road has separate lanes for each direction. Always pay attention to these plates to navigate safely and comply with traffic regulations. This sign indicates a mini-roundabout. You must give way to traffic coming from your immediate right. The blue circular sign with arrows symbolizes the circular traffic flow. Always yield to vehicles already in the roundabout to ensure safe and efficient movement. This sign indicates one-way traffic ahead. The blue rectangular sign with an upward arrow clearly shows that vehicles must travel in the direction indicated. Always follow this sign to ensure safe navigation and maintain traffic flow. This sign indicates that vehicles must stop and not proceed beyond this point during a cycle event. The bright yellow background and bicycle symbol emphasize the need for caution around cyclists. Always obey this sign to ensure the safety of participants and maintain a safe environment for all. This sign informs you of a restriction on entry to High Street, indicating it is half a mile ahead. The blue rectangular sign clearly displays the nature of the restriction and the distance, allowing drivers to prepare in advance. Stay alert and plan your route accordingly to comply with upcoming restrictions. This sign warns of a weight restriction ahead, indicating a limit of 7.5 tons, 2 miles away. The blue rectangular sign, combined with the red circle and truck icon, clearly communicates the weight limit. Be prepared to adjust your route if your vehicle exceeds this weight limit to ensure compliance and safety. The sign indicates a weight restriction ahead on the B3033 road at Beckwood, where the limit is set at 7.5 tons. It also provides an alternative route for vehicles over this weight limit, directing them to use the B3049 and A3011 roads to reach Oxbourne. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more UK driving theory test videos. Check out our other videos for more practice, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Good luck with your theory test and drive safely.